Hello everybody, welcome back. It's JudiciousFire, and I am here with Cosmo. One of the most routine questions I get in the game of Castle Clash, whether it be in-game or here on the channel or maybe on a forum, the question is, how do I keep my Cosmo alive? My Cosmo, he's one of my favorite heroes. He's an amazing hero. He's been an amazing addition to my team, but he ends up getting taken out pretty quickly, either by attackers or while he is defending. Yeah, he's sort of there one moment and gone the next. Well, I hope to answer that question to some degree. There's always going to be some variance here in Castle Clash. What might work for you in your particular style of gameplay, what you have accessible to you as a player, that's always going to dictate the build. But when it comes to a Cosmo that is able to withstand a lot of punishment, while at the same time deal out a lot of punishment, there really are only about 3 or 4 different builds that are typically run with Cosmo. And a few of them will get him through a 3-minute battle. Others will annihilate the enemy, but he'll only last about 30 seconds. Let's take a look at a couple of those builds, and let's analyze how to keep our Cosmo alive. Cos is one of the greatest auto-proc heroes in the game. In some way, please explore insignia or talent of Empower. He sits there on the base, he creates these amazing paralysis bubbles of damage. This is not a damage-oriented game any longer. It is not heavy damage that's going to be taken out, Zephyrica and Dovekeeper, and the ones that are really nasty in this game. It is sustained damage over time, and that requires multiple skill activations. The only way a hero is going to be able to activate its skill multiple times is by remaining alive for a very long time. A defensive build is what we need, even on some of our highest damage dealing heroes, because they're not going to deal any damage at all if they're dead. Cosmo is a very, very good example of that. The Empower for the auto proc. He is a defensive hero primarily. Of course, you can use him in a variety of other game modes, and there are attack scenarios. But what he does best is he envelops and then damages anybody who comes near your base. With the Empower, he can do that auto proc without being under direct attack. That's excellent. The Wicked Armor, it's my #1 addition to the Empower. This is how I have Cosmo running 99% of the time. I use him for base defense, and I use him with the Empower and the Wicked Armor. Wicked Armor serves as an offensive Sacred Light. It's going to reduce the reflect damage. It's the reflect and deflect damage that is multiplied and sent back at Cosmo that kills him. This will do a better job at keeping him alive than even a Sacred Light. So this combination right here is going to help your Cosmo tremendously. Now, with that same Empower, you can run a Sacred Light, and there are times when you're facing specific enemies that maybe have just heavy attack and no reflect and deflect. You don't have to worry about the Wicked Armor. Sacred Light going to do a great job keeping him alive. Going to keep him happy, man. I have him on Drogo Pet. I think a healing pet of some kind can be a great thing to put on Cos. Rudolph. Mini Angie for also damage reduction and healing. But Drogo is going to deflect damage as well as give an attack boost. Going to make Cosmo a little bit stronger, but the deflect is going to negate somewhere around 60-65% of the damage that Cosmo should be taking. It doesn't hit him. It goes back at the enemy. So think about that. It's a really great way to give him instant damage reduction, if you will, through the process of deflect damage negation. You can do let's go into the Hero's Altar. I run my Cosmo primarily, and when he's not defending a base, primarily an Archdemon. This is an Archdemon setup. He's got a Sunder. This is one talent that I know I'm going to keep on him. The Empower, I might go a different way. I might go Wicked Armor Empower. I might go Sacred Light and Empower. Who knows? But I know Sunder's going to be his main because he's one of my main Archdemon guys. Sunder only for the AD. Okay, if you're not interested in that game mode, stay away from it. Again, Sacred Light, Wicked Armor, even a Survival. But if you want him to auto-proc, he's got to have Empower in some way, shape, or form. Let's take a look at his crest. We've got his Wicked Armor there. It gives a really nice attack bonus. That's 7,078, much more than a Sacred Light would. But, talents, one day they're a 9, next day they're a 10, and it goes back and forth again. And don't drive yourself nuts. Do what's best for your hero. You could also run a Revive. We then move into the category of a more attack-oriented Cosmo. A lot of people use Cosmo in Arena. It's got a Revitalize, instant skill activation. You might have an Unholy Pact for a tremendous amount of damage against the enemy crystal. Knock that thing out. But I tell you, 9 times out of 10, once he unleashes that one skill activation, the man turns to dust. The subject of this video is how to keep Cosmo alive. So if you're player versus player modes, quick battles, Labyrinth, Lost Battlefield, Arena, etc., Revite, Unholy Pact, Revite, Wicked Armor, any of these things are great. But keeping him alive, we're going to have to stay with the offensive Sacred Light, the defensive Sacred Light, the Empower. Keep him on a base, keep him on a base bonus, and keep him away from the enemy by keeping him centralized in your base. Equipment, I have Holy Conviction. I think it's his number 1. Gives him damage reduction. He needs this to stay alive. Huge damage reduction bonus. Also allows him to soak in heals at a far more efficient rate. Heals provided by pets, fellow teammates, a Green Warden. There's a whole bunch of ways to heal in this game. He is not an innate healer, though. And as far as traits go, okay, what you're looking at is an Archdemon setup. For me, the game mode of Archdemon is more important than a Cosmo when I got, 80 other heroes to choose from. This is an attack-oriented Cosmo, simply for Archdemon scores. Don't follow any of this. You want your Cosmo to stay alive, dodge. Dodge across the board. This man should be dripping in dodge. He should be like an oil slick. This man's so slippery. Okay? He should not be getting hit. Dodge across the board. That brings up one of my final topics, and then I'm going to wrap up the video. We'll take us out on maybe an HBM AJ. If you're going to be running that much dodge on Cosmo, the natural question becomes, should I be running a Blade Dance? I would not. Blade Dance is not protecting the man. Wicked Armor protects him from that horrific return of damage that can kill him. Sacred Light protects him with the damage reduction. You can make the argument that Empower, which is the whole fuel behind his auto-proc ability, which is what he does best, that Empower is giving him extra health, while in addition allowing him to remain away from the enemy and not right up in their face getting smashed. So it's a very survival-oriented talent to have. So be careful with the Blade Dance. It will heal you and give you, a little bit of an attack bonus when you are dodging. But you got to be under heavy fire to be dodging. You don't want to be under heavy fire with Cosmo, okay? So I would be careful with that. I would go more along the lines of damage reduction or dodge, stay away from damage completely. Healing will only get you so far in this game. You'll heal up, and then the next shot will take you out completely. So that's how I have him running. So much better to have a dodge version. Let's run an AJ. Okay, let's take a look at this man. Excuse me, I have a little bit of cold going. Okay, we are trying to find a Cosmo that stays alive. One of the most difficult game modes in Castle Clash is HBM AJ. You are fighting and don't quote me, half a dozen Levanicas, maybe 3 or 4 different dove keepers, bogeymen, just horrific stuff everywhere. Everywhere. A horrible nightmare. You can see Cosmo. Okay, now they're coming right up on him. Right up in his face with a Levanica. Took him out, no problem. Remember that Drogo pet. Deflect damage. Deflect damage takes away a percentage of the damage that you would have normally taken. That percentage of damage that you no longer take is then returned to the enemy. Think Flame Guard. Reflect damage in this game, you still take the full damage. I got building loss, but you know who I didn't lose? I didn't lose my Cosmo. Cosmo is an amazing hero. I'll wrap it up. If you want to keep him alive, take us some of these suggestions, if you will, please. It'll help you tremendously in a Cosmo that is good in general game modes throughout all of Castle Clash. He is a multifaceted renaissance man of a hero, if you will. One of the great additions to the game, and somebody that we should pay close attention to in terms of his survivability and his overall health. Thanks, everybody, and you enjoy your clashing, and I'll see you on the next one. All right, bye-bye.